Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In the previous video, we optimized an image using an optimization service. In this video, we are going to create an Instagram service which will take that image and post it to Instagram. So for posting the image, we are going to use a third-party Instagram API, and the GitHub link for that will be in the description below. So this is the GitHub repository for that package, and let's directly go to the example section. So this looks fairly straightforward. Let's see if they have any more examples. So here is an example to upload a photo, and we are going to use this login function to log in into the account, and then finally we are going to publish the photo. Yeah, this is exactly what we need. So the first thing that we are going to need is an Instagram account. So this is the account that I created. It has got no post, but somehow this has 3 followers. I really don't know who these people are. Probably they are bots just like me. So I'll be using this account, and you can probably create your own. Don't use a personal accounts because Instagram has a very strict policy against bots. So just keep that in mind. Okay, now let's get started. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to install that npm library. So Instagram private API. So this will take a couple of minutes, and after that I'm going to create an Instagram folder. So as you can see here, a new Instagram client is created every time somebody wants to post a photo, and every time it is also going to log in. But I don't want to do that. I don't want to log in every time because Instagram will detect that every time this guy posts a photo, he is also logging in, and this is probably a bot behavior. So somehow I want to reuse this code so that I am logging in only one time and then reusing that client object so that Instagram doesn't detect me as a bot. I hope that makes sense. So for that, I'm going to create 2 files here. One file would be client.js. This file will give me the client, and then the other file will be Instagram service.js. So you can name these files anything you want. I just like to keep them separated. So let's work on this Instagram client. So the first thing that we're going to need is we need to have the API client imported. So let's just do that. It was called IG API client. Let me just do this. IG API client. Perfect. And then I also need my Instagram username and password. So I already have this saved in my process.env file. Let me just show you. So I went ahead and added my Instagram username and password in plain text. Make sure you're not committing this file because obviously this would mean that your Instagram username and password is out in the open. So you do not want to do that. So the second is Instagram password. Cool. Now the next thing that I want is I want to create a function named as IG client, and this is going to return me a function. So it will hold my Instagram client here, and also it is going to have an initialize function, and this initialize function will return a promise. So return promise creating a new client. Okay, this message makes sense. And then IG, let's go back here. So what are these guys doing? So we are first going to create a new API client. Let's do that. We already have this configured over here. I later tell you why I did this, but let me first complete the code, then it will make much more sense. And then we are obviously going to need to log in. So I'll just copy this whole thing here and let's paste this, format it, and we are not using any proxy, so remove this. Okay, and we have our Instagram username and we have our Instagram password. Perfect. This will log me into the account. Let's wait for it to log in, and then we are going to resolve. So we are going to resolve IG as IG. Perfect. So what this IG client function is going to return, it is going to return an object. So this object will contain one function, get IG client. And inside this IG client function, we are going to check if IG exists or not. So what is IG? IG is the Instagram client. So if this function has already ran, this value won't be undefined. But if this is undefined, this means that this is the first time the client is being initialized. So we need to initialize, and I'm going to simply return this initialize from here. So this initialize function will then return a promise, and the caller will get to know when this function is resolved. And I just realized I have made a mistake, like I always do. Even though I made a mistake, this would have ran perfectly fine, but let's just name it correctly. So this is going to return a promise, and the caller will get to know when the client has logged in, and they will be able to get this value. Perfect. And if IG has some value and it is not undefined, that would mean that we have a client present from the previous call. So I'm going to reuse that. So I'm just logging, reusing the previous client. Okay. Now I'm going to reuse the previous client, and just to keep the consistency, I'm going to return a promise, but then it is immediately going to resolve. So let me show you how this works. I'm going to return a promise, and this time it is only going to contain one function, which is resolve, and we are simply going to resolve this IG client. Perfect. So since we already have the previous client, we are simply going to reuse that, and the caller is expecting a promise, so we are returning them a promise, but it is immediately going to resolve, so the caller doesn't have to know whether we are returning them a previous client or we are generating a new client. So I'm going to now export this. After calling this function, I get this function. So this, and this should be IG client. Perfect. Now the next thing that I need is I need to work on this Instagram service. So this service will contain all the logic for posting different things to Instagram. So we are going to implement just photos, but let's say you want to upload videos as well, so you can keep that logic here. So let's get started. So the first thing that we're going to need is I'm going to create a function const upload to Instagram, and I'll just add upload photo because this library has the capability to upload videos as well. Now this function will receive a post object, and I'll talk about this post object in just a minute, but let me first create the skeleton. So I'll return a promise, and it will resolve or reject. Now what this function needs an API client, obviously. So we need to call the function that we created, and we are going to wait for get IG client. Yeah, let's see if that is imported. Yeah, that is imported. VS Code has taken care of it. Now, and in order to use this await, we need to make this function async. Now this post object contains two things. It contains the path for our file, and also it contains the caption. I'll show you later from request handler service that how this is created. But first let's get the caption and the URL. So caption is simply going to be post object dot caption, and the file is going to be post object dot file. Perfect. And let's go back to the private API, and we have this function ig.publishPhoto. We are simply going to copy this and let's paste it here. So we need to read the file into a buffer. I'll do this just in a bit. We need this caption. We are not going to post any location or user tags. I'll simply remove these things. For caption, we already know what we have. I have created a variable called caption, And for the file, it needs a file buffer. So I am not going to use this technique because it is kind of wrapping the file async thing into a promise and then returning it. I'll simply use const fs. This is the fs library from Node.js. Now I'm simply going to use this library to read the file. This is probably not a good idea, but I'm reading this file synchronously, and this will be my file path. And let's assign this to a variable. So const uh, publish result, and we are going to wait for this. Now if publish result dot status is okay, because I've already ran this function, so I know that this returns an object which contains a status, and if that is okay, then I'm simply going to first log that post it to Instagram. Otherwise, then resolve this. Otherwise, there was a problem uploading the photo. I cannot type today. And I also log the post object and then reject this. So the caller knows that this has failed. Okay, and now we need to export this. So module.exports upload photo to Instagram. We don't need this express. I don't know how that came here. And this should be path. Cool, I think this is looking good. Let's move on to the next section. Now we need to call this upload photo to Instagram function from here. So once we reply to one of the messages, the request will land here inside the request handler service. And instead of simply logging this request, we are going to call this upload photo to Instagram. I'll require this, and then we need to pass in an object which contains a caption. So caption in our case is going to be simply image caption, and we also need to supply a path, and path in our case is always going to be file.jpg. So I'm simply going to pass that, and we also need to wait for this. And since we are waiting here, so I need to make this async. Perfect. And yeah, this looks good. Let's test this. Now I'm going to start my Node.js server. So node ben www. My ngrok server is already running here. And what is happening here? Get IG client. This is an Instagram service. Okay. Okay, I need to make this function async, not this function. Copy, cut this from here and paste it here. And looks like I made another mistake. Await is only valid in client.js. Yep. Here also I need to add async. Let's do that one more time, and I think there are no errors now. Okay, so I'm going to post this image. Nature is beautiful. So let's reply to this caption. It is beautiful. So we are creating a new Instagram client, and there is an error. The path argument must be of type string or an instance of buffer or URL. Okay, let's see what happened here. Okay, it says that received undefined. I think what the problem here is that I passed it as a file, but in here I'm passing it as path. So I should make this file, or I should keep it as path and then change in here as path. Let's restart my server and try this one more time. It is beautiful. So we are creating a new Instagram client and we have posted it to Instagram. I'll just pull up my Instagram account Okay, let's reload this. Yay, we have one post and it was posted 15 seconds ago. Great. And do we have the caption? Let me make this bigger. Open this. Yeah, you can see the caption here. Perfect. So it is working. Let's see if this reuses the API client. So reply to this message. Caption, I feel old. Reusing the previous client. Perfect. So we are not logging into the account again. And if I open this and let's reload this page. So we got another post. Great. So this is exactly what I wanted. Now the final thing that we have to do is we need to schedule all these posts. So everything that we are seeing here, we need to schedule these. So we already have the scheduler service for that, but we are not calling these two functions. So let's just export these two functions first. Okay, and now this function is not automatically called, but we need to import it in our app.js file so that it is automatically invoked when we start our server. So I'll just import this function. Okay, now I want to scrape posts from Reddit every 15 minutes. So let's just do that. Reddit scheduler, and this is going to be every 15 minutes. And I want to send to Telegram every 5 minutes. So let's do that. 5 into 60 into 1000. Just for demo purposes, I'll make this 1 minute and send to Telegram group. I'll also make this 1 minute. Now let's just run our server. So I'll go here and do node pin www, and then we'll wait for 1 minute so that it scrapes Reddit and then posts to the Telegram group. So wait for 1 minute. Okay, so as you can see, it says a lot of links are added and something was posted to the Telegram group. So let's see if we have it. I'll just click this button and yeah, we have this new post. And yeah, so let's just try to post this. So I'll reply to this message and caption would be squirrels. And you can see posted to Instagram. So I'll just quickly open my Instagram account. Yeah, we have this post here. Perfect. So as long as the server is running, we will be continuously getting posts every 1 minute because that is what we have configured. And we are getting all kinds of unique constraint violated errors because our Reddit service is trying to poll Reddit every 1 minute and there are not that many posts. So everything is just repeated. That is how we have configured and this is perfectly fine. So we have finally completed the final piece of the puzzle, which was this Instagram service. Now our Instagram scheduler is complete. I hope you guys enjoyed this whole series. As always, the code for this is going to be in the description below. If you like this video, drop a thumbs up down below and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content like this. See you guys in the next one.